think so. But we need to be in prayer now more than ever. We need to be in this time. A few videos back, he showed me in the White House. He showed me his hand, God's hand, on top of the Capitol building, unscrewing it like a jar. And through this removal, there's some people was getting pulled out of there like a vacuum, and then you got some that was being like holding on to the seat, like the seat you sit on, holding like they just ripped it off, bolts and all. And then there was some that pretty much came out unwillingly, and then there was one that brought the whole chair with her. Just refusal to leave. You're going to do what God wants you to do, and that's going to be it. Like the last two videos, I went and checked on them. They're still uploading, but I was talking about the book of Job, how Satan went to God, and how he even does in our particular lives. He goes. It doesn't exclude you because you're a Christian. Now look, God found him very worthy, an upright, solid person, and Lucifer still went to God to have things done to him. And he used it. Now, he didn't manipulate God, because God knows what he's up to. God knows what he's doing. God created him. God's the creator, not he is of creation. Lucifer creates things and havoc. That's creating, not he's here creating things. But God created all things. He even created Lucifer. So if you got problems in your life, start praying. And don't just pray ridiculous stuff. God is, okay, let's just say my car is running really bad, and I'm putting a lot of money into it, and I really can't afford a new car yet. That would be one of my prayers. Lord, I don't know how much long this car is going to last. I just need a newer one, a new car, whatever you give me. And then you gotta be okay with whatever comes. Someone might come up to you, and you could be at church, you could be in a store, you could be walking down the road, and somebody might pull up and say, hey, I got an old car, would you like it? And it may be a year newer, less newer than what they have. It may be a couple of years newer than what you have. It may be way better than whatever you have. It comes down to it. When you help and you do so much for people, sometimes, and you see the no appreciation of what they do, I don't have no problems starting to charge people for things. Because if you're going to abuse stuff that is given to you, then I was taught as a young boy, you pay for it, you'll appreciate it. And by all means, and most of the time it works. But I was given a car once by my grandfather. He gave me a car. And I tell you what, I appreciated that car. Yeah, the master cylinder went out on me own, and I flew over a wall and pretty much tore it, just kind of totaled it out basically. But I love that car. I appreciated that car. I kept it clean. I would clean the motor on that car. But anyways, here I go again, getting sidetracked on memories in life. But who knows? Maybe these memories might help somebody. A lot of times people, they say a lot of stuff, and people wonder where they're going with it. I look at it, I'm constantly keeping my mind clear and let God and the Lord lead me sometimes in the different areas. Because, again, I don't take credit for any of this stuff. This is what God gives me. I see the waters drying up all over. I see exposure of things. And the Lord said that these exposures are going to expose things. These people in the White House, these people that are in Congress, these people are on the Senate, we can go down the list. Nobody is exempt from God. You are going to be punished. And no matter what lifestyle you're in, it doesn't matter. YouTube, I guess, flags one of my videos. I don't know if YouTube did. I don't know exactly how that works, but I guess it was removed because I don't even know how to put it. anyways, if they remove it, this one, they remove it. I'm just going to say it. Some people that marry the same sex came against what I was saying. And all I basically said was this, and the same as I say all the time. I don't understand it. I don't understand how you can think that you're born one way, but you are a different way. I don't understand how you dress and start to look like something else that you're not. Because then I don't understand how you could say that you are in love with the same sex when you're clearly walking around with somebody that looks like the opposite sex. I'm sorry, people. You're never going to convince me any other way. Just like I am all against a male claiming to be a female and entering a woman's sport and cannot be beat. I don't see how that's fair. I really don't. I mean, but we're not dealing with reality right now. We're dealing with the devil's realm. We're dealing with someone that controls it. And I started touching a little bit on this on the last 2 videos that's uploading. So hopefully somebody runs across this one, they'll go and at least listen to them. I mean, you listen to other crazier things, and who knows, maybe you're going through a problem that you just can't seem to get out of. Maybe you also are going through a suicide thought that you feel is the best way. Well, it's not the best way. You know, I was under the big way of thinking, I'm not hurting anyone but myself, because family members watch me drive off drunk. Family members watch me so out of my mind under drug influence, and no one ever stopped me. You know, I just felt like the world didn't care, and I felt like family didn't care, and I just felt useless and worthless. You know, I got treated like garbage at every job I was at. They always put me on the hard labor jobs and just beat the living tar out of me. I remember, they said it was normal, but I don't know if it's normal or not. I took a laborer job for a masonry thing, and it's kind of hard to keep up with 3 guys with bricks and mortar, and if you can't keep up with them, they're throwing stuff at you. One guy even threw chips of brick at me. It would end up cutting me and stuff. And that day at lunch, that was like my 4th day on the job, and that day at lunch, I got tired. They were like making fun of me and talking about me, and I'm sitting right there, and I just grabbed my lunch, my lunch pail, and folded my stuff up and put it in there, and the guy asked me where I was going, and I said, I'm leaving. I said, all the stuff you guys are saying about me, if it's true, then you don't need me. Oh, whoa. No, there is no whoa. I don't deserve it. Nobody deserves to be talked to like that. And you think back then in them days, I took a job after that, and that job paid me $2.75 an hour. I took a landscape job making, I started off, I think it was like $2.80, $2.85 or something like that. Then I went to $3 and $3.50, and I thought that was great. I remember running to there in Kenmore, there's an Acme off East Avenue. I remember on payday running into that store and threw my ID down, and I think they charged a couple bucks back then. I think it was like $2 or $3 or something. And she asked me how I wanted it back, and I said cash. I didn't know she was meaning, do you want like 10s and 20s or how you want it? And she just laughed. She goes, okay. And she put it down, and I remember she looked at me funny, and I was like looking around, and I separated. I said, can I change this separate here? And she says, I don't know what you're saying. And I said, can I put all these type of money together, and this type of money, and this type of money, and I put it together? And she says, sure. So I folded it up, and I took out a 20 and a 10 and a 5, and I put it in a separate pile. And I took everything else, and I folded it up separate, and I shoved it into separate pockets. And she looked at me funny, and I took the rest of it, and I put it in my wallet. That I took the 20, the 10, and the 5, and I put that in my wallet. And there's a reason for it, and when I do my testimony, you'll understand why. I've been like that and continue to be like that. This alert's already coming on. It's only been 10 minutes. But anyways, coming back out of the rabbit trail here, God is saying we need to be patient. We need to be in prayer. You know, again, God's on the earth. The Lord spoke and said that, you know, He is sitting on the throne and He is waiting on God's return. And when God returns, you know, we're going to see a great deal of change. And He keeps saying His people have nothing to worry about. I don't believe that all the church members are safe in this. I really don't, because there's so many, you know, there's still so many wrong things going on in churches. And there's so many evangelists that stand out there and preach this prosperous word, and why they're raking in people's money and buying big jets and more property and claiming, you know, they got this big major organization that they don't even use, that they're using their own homes, and you know, it's all a racket. You know, you've lost Jesus. Some of you, I wonder if you even had it in the first place. It's all about selling your books, selling your merchandise, selling this, doing this. You know, there's so many of them. I mean, they spend so much time talking about selling, and where's Jesus? Maybe if you got a big property and you're trying to sell it, it's a great big house and you bought it and you renovated and all that, maybe you should be doing some kind of ministry teaching in there, bringing people there for the summer, the youth and stuff, and really using it for God's work. You know, some of these people can't afford to go in there, but you know, you need a title for everything. You know, there's a song by I'm not going to say the name, but it's called Nobody. Just go to YouTube and look up Nobody. It's a very popular Christian band, and in it says, I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody about Jesus. You know, in the beginning of it, it says he picked 12 that no one else would have, you know, picked, and He changed the world. You know, God chose us to come to this planet and to be born, the same as He did His Son, for a purpose, a reason, and a plan. Purpose, reason, and plan. God told me this many times. I have a purpose, reason, and plan, whether you understand it or not. Sometimes you don't need to understand it. Sometimes you just got to be willing. You got to be willing to cross the street in the rain and stand there. I guarantee it, eventually somebody's going to come by, give you an umbrella, raincoat, or something. Because that's just how God is. But, you know, these food prices, this formula deal, and all these things, it's a tactic. They're trying to put fear in you. They're trying to break you down. I know every time the gas price raises up, I used to get frustrated. Now I just thank God. I thank God that He's provided the money to fill my tanks. I thank God that He's provided the money that we still have a free world, that we still can go in there and use money. But it's how you handle things. You can complain about it all day long. You can go in there and yell at that teller, excuse me. You can go in there and yell at the teller. They don't have nothing to do with it. They clock in to do a job and they want to go home. They don't need to be yelled at, screamed at, cursed at. And yes, I've heard all of this happen before. And I'm just standing there. I'm like, come on, give the person a break. They're not out there putting these ridiculous prices and sitting back in their office going, money. Ooh, look at all this money. No, they're working just like you and I. They have no control. Matter of fact, they're probably on there looking for the cheapest gas station. They're most likely not even filling up at the place where they work, because I'm sure they don't get any kind of discounts or perks or anything else unless you use one of the perks card, because everybody's card happy these days to try to draw you in. You know, just like trucking. We got cards. You know, we use the major truck stops. I try to stay away from one chain of truck stop, the bigger truck stops, because it's all reserve parking, and it's basically their prices are outrageous. And let's face it, there's another particular one that let's just say it's named after. If you had to fly somewhere, one of them's named after that, and the other one is kind of who flies the plane, basically. They've raised their prices so bad, it's ridiculous. I mean, good grief. It used to be you'd get two hot dogs for like, I think it was $2.22. Then it went to I don't know, people. It's I don't even know how many. I think it's like $4 and something now. Pizza used to be like 2 for $5, and now it's like two. I heard it's like $2 for $6.50 or something. And it's still a good deal, but it's not a good deal because we don't deserve it. You know, we work very hard driving these trucks and putting up with the weather and due dates and times and sacrificing sleep and home time, just like our loved ones at home. You know, they have to pick up where we left off and what we're not doing anymore there. And you know, I'm grateful that my wife appreciates what she appreciates, and I'm very grateful that, first of all, I'm very grateful she's a woman under God above all things, and I'm grateful that you know, she's a reasonable thinker and doesn't just react to things. Did she in her past? Yes, maybe, but you know, but when you let God change you daily, the Lord will walk you out of many different situations and prune off so much stuff in your life. You just feel like, you know, you feel, whew, I'm excited, I'm pumped, and I'm ready to go, you know, and you're just like this energy and this, you know, you want to dig into His Word. You know, this daily Word is the food of life. This daily Word is what keeps you going. There's a solution for everything in here. You know, I did the one video, but I had it backwards, the camera backwards, because I didn't know it was backwards. I mean, but I was showing you guys books that you can't see it, but I'm going to re-show them. You know, this one is the Bible Promises for You. This one's 199 Promises of God. Let me try to get it to where it's not so blurry. 199 Promises of God. God promises 199 things. Can you promise 199 things to anybody and fulfill it every time somebody needs it? No. Don't even say, yes, I can, because it's not true. You can. Sometimes you can't even keep a promise of helping somebody. You know, I learned over the years, I never tell anybody yes on a certain date. I said, if it's available and I'm still freed up, yes, I'll help you. But if something else lines into the place, then I won't be able to do it that particular day. Or somebody asks me, hey, do you want to come to this church? Yes, I will. When? This Sunday? No. I know I can't do it this Sunday because I'm already going to another service. But I will. And I give you my word, I will be here. And I do it. I keep it. When God says to go, I go. And I know some of you might think this is ridiculous. I know some of you might think, you know, I don't believe in all this, but you believe in ghosts, you believe in the witchcraft, you believe, and I know some of you are so fearful of scary movies and haunted houses, but yet you run to it. How the heck can you be scared? Really think about this. How can you walk into a haunted house because you don't know where they're going to jump out at? You don't know what's going on, but how really can you be scared of something that somebody's in costumes? Knowingly it's fake because your adrenaline's up and all this stuff's happening, the sounds, the lights. You know, they put a lot of thought into how to make scenes, because I used to help build scenes at a haunted house. And there's a lot of thought, a lot of ways that the lights are shining and the strobes and all these things taking place. You know, like in a scary movie, I don't understand why people jump, because if you've seen the first one and they make a second one and you know a certain music is coming, you know something's about to happen bad. Someone's about to get killed, you're going to see the bad guys, something down the... I don't get it. But yet, those are the very things that are going to come. Not so much some of the stuff on there, but... You know, there is a certain guy that has razors on his one hand. You know, there's in hell, you will be shredded, and your body will be restored, and you're going to feel every bit of it over and over and over and over. And I'm not just saying that; it's true. You get a paper cut, and I say intense at about 1,000, and I guarantee it, because I've seen people screaming. and I've watched their flesh just open up, and I've watched blood and all this stuff pour out of people. I watched them cut tongues out and them shove it down their throats because they lied all the time. Now I just, can you imagine? I seen a room not too long ago when I was walking through this area with the Lord, and he showed me this room, and I said, why is all these things happening to these particular people? And he said, these are the ones with the multi-demons. So let's think about it. If you're a liar, there's one demon. If you steal things, there's two demons. So now you got these two demons in one room waiting on you. You're lustful. There's three demons. Prideful. Boastful. Now you got 5 demons waiting. And each one of them will do different things to you. One may tear your tongue out. One may gouge your eyeballs out because you were lustful through the eyes. Because if you're blind, you can't be lustful because you can't see it. It doesn't attract you. You don't know if someone's pretty or ugly. You don't know if something catches your eye. But it's just not women or men or anything lustful. Lustful is after, you can be lustful after anything because it's that desire, and it's sickening. This world is sickening. And, so many people, family members, people that I know keep posting things, and it's like, you need to stop. You really need to stop and think about, who are you to come against anybody? You're not. You shouldn't be. There was a famous quote, and I'll say this, and I asked the Lord today when I was in prayer, and I asked him, I said, Lord, can I say this? And the Lord said, yes. There's a famous quote that was said, go ahead and lie about me, and I'll tell the truth about you. Meaning, go ahead and speak whatever you want about me, and I'm going to tell everybody about you. Everything that I know about you. It might not be so great to lie about and talk about someone else anymore. I'm sure you'll try to cover it up, but many people, trust me, many people in your life already know what some of the stuff on how you are in life. I don't come against people. I just speak truth about people. I speak truth about people so people know what they're dealing with. I'm not judging them. I don't care. I had a family member stole thousands of dollars, and I know thousands of dollars. I don't care. That's not between me and her. That's between her and God. But just let the demons go. Okay? Ask God for forgiveness and let it go. Because it's going to kill you, and you're going to go to hell over nothing. I don't know, people. I know that our times are coming and bad things are changing, and God is doing the good changes. And we got to be still, and we got to be ready. We got to start planning for Christ's return. And how to get there is, again, you got to start looking at your life. You got to start looking at what you're doing, what you're watching, things you're listening to. Somebody asked me once, and a very close friend of mine said, well, listen, I don't understand how you went from listening to this type of music and now saying this. And I said, right, God opened my ears. He allowed me to hear the truth. Excuse me, I don't know. But, listen, you ever listen to the words? If you don't know the words to every song you sang, maybe you should look them up. There was a show on that was called Don't Forget the Lyrics, or I think that's what it was called. Wayne Brady was on it. People had to sing, and then they'd stop, and you had to fill it in. You know how many times that you sung a song, and you thought the words were something, and you filled it in with that, and it was wrong, and you're like so positive, you're so mad, and then when they put the words up here, you're like, what? That's what the devil does. He deceives you, he tricks you, and he does things to make you think one way while he's doing something else. That magician, look at this hand while you're being stabbed. The terrors in the night, they say. But God says it doesn't have to be. You're afraid to walk down a dark alley because of the darkness. Well, you're walking in darkness if you're walking into a life that is not of God's. Do I come against people? I'm not coming against people. I'm not even coming against their churches. But I am coming against fake churches. I'm so sick and tired of them. I'm sick and tired of watching people, sick and tired of watching these pastors stand up on stages and not do anything. I'm so tired. You are the shepherd. For crying out loud, shepherd your flock. What are you afraid of? You're going to lose numbers? Half them people aren't even there anyways. Half them people are in so much bigger worries and problems than going to heaven at that point. I guarantee it. 1 out of 2, the Lord said, will go. You ever stop and think about when you're sitting somewhere and you look around going, I stand a pretty good chance of going to heaven? Or do you? If you died right now, could you possibly say you would go to heaven? Everybody has bad thoughts. It's not about the thoughts. I mean, there's troubled thoughts that I have some days, but I quickly go and ask Jesus to forgive me. And by His blood and by His grace, I'm going to be forgiven. And it's no longer held against me. But that's not the goal there, people. The goal is not to keep sinning and go, Jesus, forgive me. Because then it'll even get to you, well, I know what I'm about to do is a sin, but I'm just going to go ahead and enjoy this party, and then in the morning I'm going to confess to Jesus I'm sorry. No, it don't work that way. Yes, Jesus will forgive you, but there's going to be a consequence. Somewhere down the line, just like you punish your children. Well, some people do. Some people don't. Some people just don't do it again. Oh, okay. You ever stop to think maybe your kids are waiting for some type of love? I tell you what, I wish I had more discipline when I was growing up. I really do. And instead, you get tossed onto the streets. You know how many people say, oh man, I wish I had that. Wish I didn't have to go to bed or go to school, this and that. You do you? Yeah, right. You don't know what you're asking for. Some people are very unappreciative of what they have. Nice warm beds, so their friends got a brand new PlayStation 5 and you got a Nintendo. Be happy you got some Nintendo. How many kids would love to have a Nintendo? I remember when the Ataris were a big deal. And wanted one so bad. We'd go to our grandma's, and when my uncle and them was up in Tennessee, they'd all be sitting there playing. When we finally got to play, let's face it, it was the older ones and filter their way down. Some people could play video games for a long time. When it was finally your turn, you just popping every game in there and playing it real quick and playing Pac-Man, Space Invaders. My favorite was Kaboom. Donkey Kong was pretty fun. I used to play that when we went to the laundromat, only because I could play it for a while. It was the best quarter ever spent. But then I started looking at machines, gumball machines and stuff, and some of them gumball machines I'd cash the quarter in for change, and I'd get a couple little trinkets out of there for like 5 cents, 10 cents. Yes, we even had penny machines still then. That was well worth better than playing the game. I'd watch other kids play it, and I got stuff I got to take home. I valued something that I can have for a long time than something I can only have for a short period. And I look back at it now going, that's what the devil did. Gave you short period things that only pleasured you for a moment. You wanted more, you wanted more, you wanted more. I had junky cars, and I was embarrassed by them. I had bolts holding doors closed. I pretended, because I had to jump in my one through the window, and I pretended like it was a General Lee and make jokes about it. But in reality, it got me around, and I was out of the rain. You could buy cars back in for like $100. Some of them $50. but some of them, I had a guy give me a car once, couldn't start it. He said, "Here, come and get it." I was doing a landscape job, and I was overlooking. I said, he was trying to sell us. "How much you selling that car for?" And he said, "Well, I had $100 on it, but we can't get it to start now." And I said, "Well, how much you want for it?" He goes, "Yeah, I'll go notarize the title this afternoon and bring you the titles and the keys. Come and get it by this weekend." Okay. Well, we waited till Saturday evening, got off work, and I had my buddy, we hooked a rope to it, and I didn't live too far away, so we pulled it. We waited till dark, so we were thinking the cops. Well, yeah, a cop pulled us over, and we told him we couldn't afford to tow it. So he just followed behind us to make sure that the rope didn't break and all this, and which I thought was pretty cool for an Akron cop. I was like, okay. And so I get the car there, and that Sunday, that night actually, I brought out my spotlight and stuff, and I'm like putting gas in the carb and doing all this stuff, and I'm like cranking on this thing, and I'm going, what in the world? I want this thing to start. It's not even turning over, and I'm thinking timing chain, going through all these possibilities, and I'm like, this sucks. This just is horrible, because I didn't know how to do timing chains back in. I learned by this guy owned a junkyard, and he used to let me come in there and take parts off the cars, and he'd give me a little bit of money. Or if I needed the part, he would work out some kind of deal and still give me some money. And so I learned a lot of taking cars apart by doing that and fixing stuff myself, because I couldn't afford to put cars in a shop. So I grabbed a hold of the battery terminal that my buddy was gonna take it to his house and charge the battery for me, because he's like, "Dude, I think your battery's just toast." So I went to pull it off, and I went to grab. I did the positive, because I was always told to take. Maybe it was a negative first. Maybe it was, I can't remember now, and I still don't remember. Today I think I always take the positive off first, so I'm just gonna go off of that. But anyways, I took the positive off, and then I took the negative off. And when I took the negative off, I then realized the terminal was still on the battery. It wasn't even hooked up. So when we put the cables on there, it must have been hitting that positive just enough to get some kind of reaction, but it wasn't doing anything. So I ended up going to get a terminal for, I think it was like 50, 60 cents or something back then. I don't remember. Put it on there, primed the crap out of that thing. We siphoned the gas out of it, put fresh gas in it, fired right up. Went down and got a temporary tag. In a couple of weeks, I ended up getting a plate put on it. And I love that car. I let a friend of mine borrow it, and he totaled it. Drunk, smashed into a tree.